Hey, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones. And yes, I am the host of the State of the Saints podcast. And thank you so much for checking out this edition of the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. And this isn't going to be a long episode at all, Who Dat Nation. I just wanted to get on to talk a little bit about what has transpired at NFL Honors. It's probably still going on right now, but I'm pretty sure a lot of you already know quarterback Drew Brees has been selected to be a part of the 2026 class for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And I got to tell you, Who Dat Nation, I think we all knew once Drew Brees reached that 5 years of eligibility that he was going to be a first ballot Hall of Fame. I mean, it wasn't a doubt in my mind at all. As a matter of fact, I think if you've been watching the podcast, I told y'all just go ahead and book your flight and get your hotel room ready all right now, because Drew Brees was going to go to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But of course, we know, there's always some things that go down that we don't expect. A lot of people were talking about Bill Belichick not being a first ballot Hall of Famer. But to me, I feel like Bill Belichick wasn't selected for the Pro Football Hall of Fame because I think the NFL thinks and believes that he has intentions of going and coming back to the NFL. So why would they, put him in a Pro Football Hall of Fame if that was the case? That's what I believe. But when it comes to Drew Brees, I mean, this was a no-brainer. Drew Brees is arguably the greatest quarterback of all time. And look, I don't care what these people have to say. You got a lot of, onlookers talking about Drew Brees and talking about he was a system quarterback and talking about he was pad and stash this, that, and the third. This is coming from individuals that did not watch the New Orleans Saints, did not really follow the team like Saints fans do. So if you're hearing that type of nonsensical stuff coming from individuals that follow the NFL, just ignore them, because Drew Brees wasn't just a quarterback for the New Orleans Saints. Drew Brees was a culture changer. He was a guy who would uplift an entire region when he came to the New Orleans Saints in 2006. You have so many quarterbacks that have played some really great football. I mean, we can all just take 5 seconds. Just take 5 seconds and just think about some of the best quarterbacks that you have ever seen. Now think about how many of those quarterbacks meant everything. How many of those quarterbacks changed the way that individuals look at a franchise? When I look at Josh Allen, I like Josh Allen a lot. But Josh Allen didn't transform the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills were already a good team in the past. I can remember when Jim Kelly and the K-Gun came to town when I was a young kid sitting on my grandmother's floor. I can think about some of these other quarterbacks, Aaron Rodgers, like he went to a historical franchise in Green Bay. If you're a New Orleans Saints fan and you were around the age that I am, I'm 39 or older, the New Orleans Saints were a joke. An absolute joke. Like people would put a W on their schedule when the New Orleans Saints were coming to town. I was watching the Rise of the 49ers documentary just the other day, and they showed a clip of the New Orleans Saints had a 35-7 lead going into halftime versus the 49ers, and they lost that game 38-35. The heartbreak, the anguish. In the words of Jim Henderson, it is like open heart surgery without the aesthetic every single week. Drew Brees came along and changed the way that people look at Saints football. There is a large percent of Saints fans that have grown up not even realizing how bad the New Orleans Saints were because of Drew Brees. There are some things and some individuals that mean so much to an organization that you can't even talk about the organization or talk about their history without mentioning that individual. What Drew Brees did for the city of New Orleans, In 05, when the city was devastated, Hurricane Katrina, you had people displaced all over this country. The only link that they had back to the city were the Saints. And Drew Brees and that New Orleans Saints team in 2006 changed the way that people thought about the team. I can remember when I realized that the New Orleans Saints were not going to be the same New Orleans Saints I grew up watching as a kid. It was Sunday Night Football. You had the New Orleans Saints taking on the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday night. It was Bill Parcells, who was the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, Sean Payton, and Drew Brees. And the New Orleans Saints put a whooping on the Cowboys. And I can remember the legendary commentator Al Michaels said, "These aren't your grandmother's Saints." And from that moment on, the New Orleans Saints were one of the best teams in the entire NFL. Drew Brees would go every single Sunday, no matter if he had a defense, didn't matter who he was throwing the ball to. He made it happen. And the fact that you have some people that are trying to question the greatness of Drew Brees is laughable. Drew Brees connected a region. He brought a fan base together, and he also suspended our imaginations by going out here and making us believe that the New Orleans Saints were something special, something that we never thought would be possible. I just wish that guys like Buddy Delaverto, Buddy D, I just wish that guys like that would have seen the Saints win the Super Bowl. I'm glad that Tom Benson was able to see the team win a Super Bowl. What Drew Brees did and what he brought in Super Bowl 44 to the city of New Orleans, that pretty much trumps a lot of these teams that have been championship contenders for a long time. You know, it's just an amazing thing to just look back and just remember like some of the moments that Drew Brees just lit up the Superdome and gave people hope, and all of the achievements and all of the records that he broke. And like I said, he legitimized the franchise. It's the reason why Saints fans get upset every single Sunday since he retired, because they know what success looks like. If Drew Brees wasn't the quarterback of the Saints, some of these losses probably wouldn't feel as bad. Some of you older people know what I'm talking about. But Drew Brees showed the entire fan base, the Who Dat Nation, that the Saints could be a contender. He has whoever comes along, and we're hoping that it's Tyler Shuck, but they got some big shoes to fill, because Drew Brees was the Saints. He is the Saints. And look, he's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Congratulations to him. Now the next thing I'm advocating is for Drew Brees to have a statue out front of the Superdome. That should be the next thing that should be on the list. Gail Benson, New Orleans Saints organization, they need to have a Drew Brees statue in front of the Superdome, smack dab in the middle of Poydras Street. Drew Brees should have a statue, and I'm talking about by the end of this year. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. What an incredible career for an all-time great. So congratulations to Drew Brees. And like I said, everybody just out here trying to talk about this man patting stats is just hilarious. I mean, probably because Drew Brees probably put about 2 or 3 foots in a football team. All right. I mean, we already know that. All right, but I'm gonna go ahead and read some of these comments. I would love to hear what you all have to say about Drew Brees. Feel free to put your comments in the chat. Would love to hear from you. Tomorrow, I'll go ahead and I'll do a podcast and I'll open up the phone lines. The reason why I don't do it tonight is I'm actually talking to you through my computer because my audio box here went out on me. So I had to order another one, and it's supposed to come tomorrow. So I have an opportunity to be able to open up the phone lines, be able to hear from the members of the Who Dat Nation. But feel free to put your comments inside of the chat and tell us what you have to, say about Drew Brees, what you have to say. First to throw 80,000 passing yards, Brady did after Brees. Translation, haters who don't know football. This was a no-brainer. I mean, I wasn't sweating at all. I've been saying, I said, get your tickets to Canton ready right now. I mean, okay, but before we go any further, I do want to say this. I do like the fact that the Pro Football Hall of Fame is looking exclusive, because there was only a handful of guys that actually got in. And it makes me feel old as I don't know what, because everybody on that stage, I can remember playing, like playing the game of football. Even Roger Craig. Like I'm that old, right? But look, for those that don't know, probably like, man, who was Roger Craig? Some of y'all younger folk. All these Alvin Kamaras and these Saquon Barkleys and these Bijan Robinsons, all of them are just carbon copies of what Roger Craig. Roger Craig was the godfather of the every down back, the one that can catch the ball out of the backfield. When Bill Walsh was creating the West Coast offense, Roger Craig was a huge linchpin. Like a lot of people don't really talk about Roger Craig because, you know, you had Jerry Rice, Joe Montana, John Taylor, you know, you got Dwight Clark. Like you had all these different guys that were on the offense. But Roger Craig was the straw that stirred the drink. Before there was a Marshall Faulk, there was Roger Craig. So it was good to see Roger Craig on the stage. Once again, I'm happy to see that the Pro Football Hall of Fame is looking exclusive, unlike how they did the Pro Bowl. You had Larry Fitzgerald on the stage. Who gonna argue with that? No brainer. Adam Vinatieri, the greatest kicker of all time, in my opinion, he deserved to be up there. Luke Kuechly, in a small period of time, I mean, multiple all pros. I mean, like I said, Roger Craig, and then you have Drew Brees. A really good list. And, you know, Jari Evans and so many other guys got to wait their turn. I'm just hoping that Jari Evans ends up getting into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, because he has become a finalist, I want to say, the last three years. So hopefully we hear Jari Evans' name and he can be celebrated too, because everybody know that Jari Evans was one hell of a right guard. And, you know, he'll hear his name sooner rather than later. I know some people were talking about Eli Manning, if he deserves to be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But I honestly feel like Eli Manning is one of those players that is going to continue to be pushed down. And he's going to be like one of those guys that, you know, probably like 10, 15 years from now walking across the stage, because he had some moments, right? You know, playoff moments, beating Brady twice in the Super Bowl, but it wasn't so much of a legitimized career to a point where you can argue for him and him to be able to jump over somebody that's credible. Every guy on the stage tonight at the NFL honors for the Pro Football Hall of Fame, like you can't make an argument for Eli Manning against any one of those guys. So it's unfortunate that some of these players that were really good didn't make the cut, but I think that the Pro Football Hall of Fame got it right. Like when Larry Fitzgerald came out, I mean, look, the most sure-handed wide receiver I ever seen right there, right? I mean, over 80% catch percent. Like if you throw the ball Larry Legend's way, he gonna catch that thing. So unfortunate for Eli Manning and Jari Evans, but I think they made the right decision. Another thing, all right, and I want to say this to all of those Saints fans out here, like y'all looking real petty right now when it comes to Tyler Shuck not winning AP Offensive Rookie of the Year. Tyler Shuck came in, he played 9 games, right? It was some good moments, and it generated a lot of excitement. But I do not believe, like seriously, I do not believe that Saints fans should be upset that Teteroy McMillan won Offensive Rookie of the Year. To me, it makes sense. Out of all the guys that were out there, for the exception of Travion Henderson, he played every game. And he was a 1,000-yard receiver and a go-to guy. So putting up his stats, look what he did in week 5. Look what he did in week 6. Man, miss me with that, man. Miss me with that nonsense. Like, seriously. Like, I know we want every Saints player to get what they just do, but I don't have a problem with Teteroy McMillan winning Offensive Rookie of the Year. I mean, they gave Tyler Shuck the Pepsi Offensive Rookie of the Year. Congratulations to him right there. And then on top of that, it gives Saints fans something to look forward to. just be excited that you actually have a quarterback that looks like he's going to be something. Like sitting up here getting upset that he couldn't walk across the stage and win Offensive Rookie of the Year, and now you up here trying to badmouth Teteroy McMillan. Like, come on, man. Be better than that. Be better than that, man. Man deserved to be Offensive Rookie of the Year. And, you know, like he was a consistent guy. He was on the field. He was a go-to guy. And no, he didn't go for 150 yards every game. But he was steady enough for him to get that award. So stop being petty, man, and just move on from that. Congratulations to T-Mac. And, you know, and if Tyler Shuck does what a lot of Saints fans think he's going to do, then, you know, losing out on Offensive Rookie of the Year, you know, would be a light drama. Been with you, fam, from the start, TJ. Look, I appreciate that. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you to everybody that has been here from the start, from episode 1 to episode 2001. Thank you so much. TJ, a lot of people may not agree. I think Drew Brees is a better quarterback than Tom Brady. Look, I think that both quarterbacks were great. Yeah, of course, Tom Brady is always going to get the notch. And then on top of that, it's kind of hard to argue with that sometimes. Like, Drew Brees has a better, like, record versus Tom Brady. But these two guys aren't playing each other. Like, Tom Brady has, won 7 Super Bowls? Like, come on, man. Like, I know people like, man, Brady, this, Brady. Like, Tom Brady is great. And Drew Brees is great. They're both great quarterbacks, man. And, you know, Tom Brady has won a lot in the league. I mean, his whole origin story. I mean, he was the 199th pick in the NFL draft. And this man became the greatest quarterback of all time. Drew Brees is, you know, the greatest quarterback of all time as well. See, the thing about it is, like, we sit up here and talk about, like, oh, man, only one person. No, that's not true. Only one person could be great. Like, nah. You have a lot of all-time great quarterbacks. And it depends on who you talk to. You know, like, but, man, both quarterbacks are great. I'm not about to sit up here and just down bad, you know, and lambaste Brady. Drew Brees was the greatest quarterback of all time, in my opinion, because it's not so much about championships. Like, if we talk about championships and accolades and winning a lot, Tom Brady is that guy. But I just look at the degree of difficulty when it comes down to it. Like, Drew Brees took a nothing franchise in New Orleans, like a franchise that was a laughing stock, and made them legit. It's just some things that guys do. It just supersedes certain things. Like, for example, LeBron James. I want to say, 3, 4 championships? But the one he won in Cleveland meant more. Why? Because the Cleveland Cavaliers were terrible. They call the city of Cleveland, they call it the mistake by the lake, because it's so much ineptitude going on in Cleveland. And nobody expects for the Cavaliers to win anything. That championship that LeBron brought to Cleveland meant more than any championship in Miami or Los Angeles. What Drew Brees did for the city of New Orleans, like I said, he captured the imagination of Saints fans. And he made Saints fans proud to say Who Dat. Used to just say Who Dat because it was the thing to do and it was the local team. So I'm going to say Who Dat. And sometimes it was even looked at as a joke. You know, like, man, but Drew Brees makes Saints fans proud to say Who Dat. To wear the fleur-de-lis on the hat, on the shirt, on the pants, on the shoes. He makes you proud to say that you are a Saints fan. So, like I said, some things like just transcend sports. Some individuals are so larger than life because of the contributions and the things that they have done for a franchise and opened up the eyes and created hope. I just feel like there's a different lane. There's a different conversation to be had when you meet those individuals. And Drew Brees is one of them. What's up, TJ? I'm definitely happy Drew Brees got in the Hall of Fame, and I'm not upset Tyler didn't win Rookie of the Year. He played well, and I did my research on them. We got a good one. Yeah, I mean, look, don't care nothing about that. Like, what I care about is Tyler Shuck growing as a quarterback. That's what should matter to Saints fans. Not just, something that just go collect dust sitting on his countertop. Like, if you want something that collect dust on the countertop, let it be a Lombardi trophy. Just saying, if Shuck would have won Offensive Rookie of the Year, Shadur fans would be throwing fits. Man, I don't think so. Because if you are a realistic, logical Shadur Sanders supporter, then you know that, he leaves a lot to be desired, at least this year. Like, it's just what it is, man. It don't mean he's terrible. That don't mean that he ain't going to ever amount to being a credible quarterback in the National Football League. I just don't like how people just got to pretend that they don't see what is obvious. That don't mean that it's always going to be that way. I'm not standing on business for anything that if I have to squint an eye or kind of adjust my hands in order to make it fit. Like, if it makes perfect sense, I don't care if I'm supporting the individual that lost or fell short. If it makes sense, I'm good with it. I'm good with it, man. Roy McMillan winning Offensive Rookie of the Year, I have no problem with it whatsoever. Man played every single game for the Carolina Panthers the entire season, and he was the number one target for Bryce Young on the team. So we're on to Cincinnati. TJ, some Saints fans are salty and arrogant as I don't know what. Yeah, I ignorant, I guess. Arrogant, I guess you mean arrogant. Salty and arrogant. Look, I just think that, we become so emotionally invested in players and in narratives that sometimes we don't even look at things that just make sense because we have fixed our minds to believe that this is supposed to happen. XYZ is supposed to come this way. If it don't, then it's the biggest robbery that I've ever seen in my entire life. No. Okay? It makes sense. It's okay if you come out on a losing end of something that makes sense, but trying to make it seem like it don't make sense, like that's a waste of time. Brees can't play defense, that's sad. Yeah, think about when Drew Brees was in his prime and how Sean Payton just kept his same old friends that was keeping the defense below average every single year. Like, imagine if Drew Brees could have had a defense like the Saints had this season or a couple of years ago. Like, and he was in, by the time the New Orleans Saints got a decent defense that can stop somebody, Drew Brees didn't have the arm strength anymore. He was in the twilight of his career. So as far as I'm concerned, like, man, there's a lot of people that you can point blame, but people sitting up here, talking about Drew Brees and make it seem like Drew Brees can't ball out. Man, Drew Brees was the truth. Drew Brees used to be carving teams up like a Thanksgiving turkey. It's criminal that it took this long for Roger Craig to get into the Hall of Fame. Yeah, it is criminal, man. I'm just glad that he got there. And you can tell it meant a lot to him. And you can tell it meant a lot to Roger Craig being up there. And, that was my childhood walking across that stage, right? I'm talking about Tecmo Bowl, where, for regular Nintendo, I can remember running the football with Roger Craig, right? I mean, it was just great to see. It's just great to see Roger Craig. Roger Craig I'm telling you, he is the godfather of the every down back. Like, most of the time, like before Bill Walsh got to the 49ers, it was 3 yards in a cloud of dust. The offensive playbook was almost similar to, like, if you threw the ball, it was similar to, like, you just out there playing on a blacktop or playing in a field with your homeboys. Okay, man, just run this straight 9 route down the field. I'm going to throw the ball as far as I can, try to get under. That was the passing offense. And then when Bill Walsh came along, created the West Coast offense, drafted Roger Craig, and made Roger Craig a household name and an offensive weapon that a lot of people couldn't stop. So it was good to see Roger Craig in the Hall of Fame, man. And if you don't know who Roger Craig is, like, please look him up, man. I'm telling you, all these Camaras and Christian McCaffreys out here that's doing it, running between the tackles, catching the ball out the backfield. Roger Craig started that. He the easy E of the every down back. I did my research on him. I know what you meant, Greg. I think we all knew, man. Appreciate it. Hey, y'all, I missed the honors. Did Shuck get Rookie of the Year? No, Desi, he didn't. Teteroy McMillan got it. I'm still salty as hell. Brees got robbed of a chance to beat Brady in the Super Bowl. Yeah, man, that was unfortunate, man. That Nolan no call. Who would have knew that was peak Saints right there. that was peak Saints. Yo, TJ, what's up? I'm not mad at Tyler Shuck with Rookie of the Year, NFL Awards 2026. I don't understand why Saints fans are ignorant all the time. I'm glad Drew Brees is going to Canton. Yeah, I might make that trip, man. I'm serious. I might make that trip. Like I have never been to Ohio in my life, but I'm gonna try my best to make that trip. Hopefully, NFL, give your boys credentials so he can go out there as a Pro Football Hall of Fame. That'll be great, man, to see Drew Brees' speech in person. Yeah, I'm gonna try to make that happen. I'm gonna try to make that happen. All right, I'm gonna stroll up a little bit, see what some of you had to say. That 2006 Saints squad was special. Says, I agree, TJ. I think it was during the time I was just talking about Drew Brees. I think I pretty much read everything that was here. But my final thoughts are simple. And like I said, I'll open up the phone line so, I can give people opportunity to be able to talk. They want to share a story or something about Drew Brees. We'll do that on the next episode. But my final thoughts are simple. Once again, Drew Brees deserves to be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I mean, we all knew it was going to happen, but when he walked out, and he was the last one, that they called to the stage, I think a lot of people, got a little emotional up in there, man. It was almost like, watching, somebody that you just love, like, get their flowers. Because Drew Brees never really got his flowers for being a great quarterback. Like, people just dismissed Drew Brees. And a lot of it was because, Drew, he didn't throw the 60-yard bombs, right? He couldn't get on one knee and throw 70 yards. He wasn't out here sidearming that joint. He was just the epitome of precision. I mentioned on the last episode, Drew Brees' nickname should be the surgeon, right? I mean, he just did his job well. He would just carve you up, right? The perfect incision, right? And just for 3 hours, just give you a masterclass of what the quarterback position is supposed to be. It was almost like watching somebody that's a great chess player play chess, right? Why did you move that way? And you see these linebackers, like even, his fellow Hall of Fame classmate, Luke Kuechly. Luke Kuechly talked about how it was almost like, playing chess against Drew Brees. How Drew Brees will make a adjustment. Luke Kuechly will counteract that, and hopefully that he got the defense in the right position. People don't appreciate these type of quarterbacks because we have been systematically programmed to fall in love with the wow factor, to fall in love with the guy that's throwing the no-look passes, the one that's out here just dropping the ball, in a spot like a Caleb Williams. Everybody call him the Iceman now, right? People have an appreciation for those type of quarterbacks because they're entertaining. Right? Drew Brees was entertaining, but it was in a different way. It wasn't the stereotypical quarterback way that a lot of people have grown accustomed to appreciating. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, if you can make all the throws and you have that talent like a Mahomes, like a Caleb Williams, that's great. But that doesn't mean that everybody has to play the quarterback position that way. If not, then that means that they're not good enough. Drew Brees didn't have the strongest arm. Drew Brees wasn't the tallest quarterback, but every single week, he was the best quarterback. More times than not, he was the best quarterback on the field. So for Drew Brees to get his just due at the NFL honors, hearing his name called, him going to Canton, his bus will forever be a part of history of the Pro Football Hall of Fame and a history woven in the fabric of the National Football League. Thank you all so much for checking out this edition of the State of the Saints podcast. Really do appreciate it. Once again, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, tell your mama, tell your pa, tell your cousin them about the State of the Saints podcast. And also, I just want to give a special shout out to everybody that messaged me and and told me, about the Saints package for Tyler Shuck, winning being nominated for Offensive Rookie of the Year, and they actually had my voice on the promo package, which was pretty cool, man. It was pretty cool, man. So I want to take this moment to thank the New Orleans Saints organization of thinking of your boy, and I really do appreciate that, man. So, and I appreciate everybody that chimed in because I was at work, man. I wasn't even on the computer or anything like that on my phone. And shouts out to Jono, like he texted me, it was like, man, your voice on the Saints Tyler Shuck video. I'm like, really? Thought that was pretty cool. So but I appreciate you all. Once again, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Previous episodes available to you on YouTube. We'll be back tomorrow, and we'll talk a little bit more about Drew Brees, Pro Football Hall of Fame. Also talking about the Super Bowl. Who do you all have winning for the Super Bowl? We'll be talking about that as well. Till next time, all I got to say is